and just going to run through the numbers real quickly to see what's shaking here in the Forex market as we've just gotten started with the new US session. So we're just going to run through, see which currencies are actually moving, which ones are being heavily bought, which ones are being heavily sold, and therefore that'll allow us to create a currency pairing that we can then investigate, see if there's a tradable opportunity in the marketplace. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to pop over here first and just have a quick look at what's going on. News, we don't really have any news coming up for the day until a little bit later in. We do have the CPI, core CPI coming up here in about 20 minutes, and then this afternoon, Mr. Powell is going to speak. So with that said, we can go ahead and just jump into it. Typically, when we've got high impact news coming up, we don't really want to take a new trade on that specific currency coming into the face of that news. Some U.S. news, we just want to stay away from everything. Some of the high impact U.S. news isn't quite as impactful across all markets. We have that core CPI coming up. It's a red report, but it's not, when you look at it compared to like a non-farm payroll or rate information, things of that nature, it's not quite as impactful. So with this one, I'm willing to still look at what's going on in the marketplace instead of just waiting until 7:30 to start trading, or 8:30 Eastern time to start trading. I think there's some good opportunities out there. Less today with looking at the strong currency versus the weak currency. More in the realm of looking at currencies that have just been in this really, really tight range. If we look at the euro and the CAD, they've been moving lockstep. They've been right with one another over the course of the evening and morning hours so far. So this is a really interesting. Oh, dang it! You're not looking at that screen. Let's get you over to the right screen. So what I'm referencing is the euro, which is the pink line, and the CAD, which is the green line here. They've been moving right with one another, so they're in a really tight range. You can see how they've just been. There hasn't been any divergence at all. One hasn't been more heavily bought or sold than the other for the most part. They've been steady through the day. What that leads to is this, which we pulled the euro versus the CAD over here. If we make that a little bit bigger, it looks like a lot of movement, but it's not. That's only 30 pips of range from top to bottom here. Its typical range is about 90 pips. So there's a tremendous opportunity for a breakout here, just simply snapping back to its typical range. Now, typically, I've saying typically too many times in that sentence, what we're usually looking for here is divergence. We want to see a strong currency and a weak currency, and that allows us to know which direction we want to place our order in, our pending order at the top or the bottom of that breakout box, because we're able to see one's being heavily bought, one's being heavily sold. Therefore, we know which way we want to go. That gives us directionality, and we can confirm that with the volume detail down here at the bottom. Today, though, just simply looking at the range on this and seeing that we've only got a 30 pip range on an average of 90 plus, I'm more inclined to play on this one anyway, to just simply look at a buy and a sell on both sides of this breakout box, and basically play the direction that the market takes it as it gets ready to move and find its return back to that mean. So that's what I'm looking at this morning from a breakout opportunity. I'm moving away from today anyway, because there's not a lot of anything that's really standing out here in our currencies that are currently open, that are currently being actively traded. So I'm moving away from the strength versus weakness to identify that first opening breakout session. And today I'm looking right here at this euro versus the CAD, and the fact that we've only moved 30 pips on an average of 90, and playing that probability that we're going to return back to that mean. Not knowing direction, not even trying to pick direction, just saying, hey, if it moves north and breaks out of here, I'm going to be in a buy. If it moves south and it breaks out of there, I'm going to be in a sell. So that's all there is to it. All right, so there's my early breakout opportunity or trade for you this morning. We'll see where that goes. I'll be back in a little bit. We'll talk about what's happening in the futures market.